Is it working? I hope so. Hey guys, welcome to Tiny House Customs. Oh, there, it just started. Hey guys, welcome to Tiny House Customs. I'm Dan. This is a live broadcast, and it's not the first, but it is kind of the first ever. I'll actually have the text on the side so I can see that. If you're watching this from this point, then you probably missed the live portion, but otherwise, if you're here for the live broadcast, this is a live broadcast. Whoops. See, yeah, there is about a 15-second delay. Cool. So, yeah, welcome. I would love to answer any questions you have about tiny houses, about me living in a tiny house, problems, anything that you could possibly want to know. I think to start out, because there isn't any questions yet, I got a message from somebody in the UK today, and they wanted to know, are you happy with your choice to have the bedroom low level rather than above? Pros and cons. I am happy with where my bedroom's located. Right now, I'm below what will eventually be the living room, but right now it's the kitchen and bathroom. Personally, heat rises, so any tiny house where it has that lofted bedroom, it's pretty hot up there. I mean, just when I walk upstairs into my living room or the bathroom, it's pretty hot up there. So when I sleep, I really like it freezing cold. So, oh, and that was from Ashy. Sorry, Ashy. It's really nice down there because it stays cool, and I really feel like it's much easier to get in and out of the loft, the lower loft, because it's not, I don't have a ladder and I don't have a huge staircase that goes up there, and it's just overall more comfortable to live. Scott, have I ever found out how much my tiny house weighs? I have not. If I do ever move it, which would be for some type of event, then I did find a scale at the dump, which is like 10 miles up the street. So the first place I take it will be to that scale. And if it's over 10,000 pounds, then I'll have to buy bigger rated axles. Right now I have two 5,000 pound axles, so I would need to put on 7,000 pound axles. But I don't know how much it weighs, but it weighs a lot. How did you get money to build one? I've been building, Ethan, how did I get money to build one? I've been building my tiny house basically paycheck to paycheck. So I get paid every 2 weeks, and it's really not that much money. I don't make a lot of money, but I'm very conscious of what I spend my money on. And basically, if I blow all my money in the first week on my tiny house, then I can really get by on little to no money. Right now I'm living pretty much rent-free, so my monthly living expenses are so low. I have a cell phone bill, which is like 110 bucks. Food, gas is pretty much my only stuff. A laundromat maybe. I mean, I can live on like $300 a month just to survive, and then all that other money can go into my tiny house and into these videos. Taking questions on Facebook. Here's a question. Do you ever plan? This is tough. I like that. Joe, do you ever plan to up and move somewhere like another state in the future? I would love to move somewhere else. If I can ever get to the point where I can do this full time, which is kind of far-fetched, but if I can get to that point and my tiny house is done and I can just make enough money to do other projects, I would love to go out into the middle of nowhere and make videos and live like a free life. Colorado would be probably like the top of the list, but that's for other reasons. Has anyone ever? Jason, has anyone ever built a tiny house with slide outs? Yes, I have seen at least two people. There's probably more, but I've seen two people. There was one, it was a YouTube video. It was a couple building one. They started making videos and they stopped. I don't know what happened, but they had a slide out in it, and it was pretty cool. Personally, I don't get it because, I mean, you're going to have different floor levels, and the slide out can only be like 4 feet. So I don't know. You've put a couch on it, I guess that would be kind of cool. And then I also saw another one on Instagram where they had a slide out, and that looked pretty damn nice. That thing was like 15 feet long, and I think it went out about 4 or 5 feet, and it was really seamless. You couldn't see it. It was really nice. Did you get the chat fixed, Jim? Yes, clearly. Jim, I've gotten it. I've figured it out. I've got it figured out. Because all the dope. You see the 15-second delay. Colorado. No, I can't smoke weed. I get drug tested. Yeah, I love that, Craig. Catherine, you're the man who guessed the Panda router. Who are the 2 trolls that always leave you the thumbs down on all your videos? I have 2 thumbs down on every single video. Not every single one, but most of them. And whenever I get a really, really negative comment and it pisses me off, I generally try not to reply. I'll just delete the comment so it doesn't bother me and it doesn't affect how I make my videos. But back in the day, I used to reply to these people, and we would get into this argument, and I was like, you know what am I doing? And I would block them. And so I think I've got like 9 or 10 people that are blocked on YouTube, and I think that those 2 thumbs down I get are from those 9 people. What's the size? What made you decide on the size? All right, Linda, what is the size of your trailer, and what made you decide on that size and not something bigger or smaller? I wanted to stay as true to the tiny house as you possibly can. Jay Schaefer's tiny house, the original bad boy, was 16 feet by 8 feet wide, and he didn't even build out past the wheel wells. So it was really narrow inside and really short, but it had everything you needed. So if you watch my scale model, when I did like that first original video like 2 years ago, I made about 4, probably 5 of those scale models before I actually decided on a size. And to me, 16 feet was just too small. 18 feet could have worked maybe. 20 feet, I felt like I could get everything that I wanted into it. Now that I've redesigned my tiny house, I think 24 feet would have been perfect. I would have got plenty of closet storage, and it would have been comfortable for 2 people. If you were going to have 3 people, then yeah, I think a 30-foot would be okay. But the farther you get away from Jay Schaefer's original design, the less of a tiny house I think it is. Holy shit, there was too many questions. Is the composting toilet honestly okay? People say it smells like dirt, but I'm not buying it. The composting toilet, I've been using it for 6 months. And to be honest, I can go to the bathroom at work, but I'm more comfortable going to the bathroom at my own house. And it's really not bad. I mean, if you cover it with peat moss, but the more peat moss you put in it, the more you got to take out of the bucket. So it depends on what the temperature is outside. If it's, this is disgusting. But if it's really hot, then yeah, cover that shit up. Cover everything. Just get it all in there, and it won't smell. There is a slight odor, but it's not that bad. If you don't cover it all, shit, it's stinky. So I don't mind it. It's not bad. What will you be working on after the windows? Emmy, hey Emmy, what will you be working on after the windows? What am I doing? Oh, I'm working on my split mini duct system. I welded up the frame to hold the split mini on the outside of the house. That'll be a video. And then I need to move the shower and the bathroom to the other side and redo all the plumbing for that, and then build a wall, and then I'll be able to install the split mini, the inside unit on the inside of the house above the door that goes into the bathroom. So it'll be up high right in the center of the house. So I'll get good circulation. What trick did you pull your tiny house with? Oh, I'm sorry, Zebos. You made your own trailer frame axle. Would you recommend that or go with a tiny house trailer? purpose built for companies that advertise that. You know, when I built my trailer, I didn't really save any money. I spent $3,200 building my trailer. It was $900 for the steel, and that I got a discount on. The axles, the wiring harness, the hitch thingy, all the stuff to make it road legal was about $1,200. I spent about $500–600 on those extra things you don't think about, the chains, the paint, just crap that you don't really think about. I spent another $400 or $500, and then I rented the space that I was in to make the trailer, and I was there for about a week. So, and I also spent 40 hours on it. So if you value your time and you give yourself a dollar amount of your time, and let's say $25 would be the cheapest anyone would ever weld something for you, then I made out maybe a little bit, because it ended up costing me around $4,200, and a tiny house trailer is generally a 20-footer is going to be around $45,000 to $5,000. So I don't know. I mean, if you really like to do that stuff and you have those tools, then possibly it would be a benefit to you. I want to start a new tiny house build, a budget-friendly tiny house build. If you want to help support that, please check me out on Patreon. The link's in the description. And that I will be buying a old camper trailer, and I'll be ripping the whole thing off, and then I'll be cutting a lot of the metal off because it has some really crappy hanging brackets on the side. I'll be cutting those off, and I'll be re-welding onto that frame, and then I'll show you the whole process of how North Carolina registers trailers. So that might be a good option because it's a little cheaper. Do you feel claustrophobic in the tiny house? Never. Today I was walking around in it, and I'm like, damn, this thing is huge, because I want to start filming again in the house, and so I moved a lot of the crap that was in my tiny house out, and it's huge. I mean, holy shit. Don't swear. Try not to swear. Ah! It's not claustrophobic. The bedroom, I mean, if you've slept in a tent, you know, like a little camping tent, and you're not claustrophobic in that, then you'll never be claustrophobic in a tiny house. And I mean, I used to sleep in tents all the time. Now, I wasn't like homeless, but I would go camping all the time. And so, yeah, I don't think it's claustrophobic. When does a tiny house become a mobile home? Jim, when you register a tiny house as a mobile home, that's when it becomes a mobile home. But to get that mobile home certification, you need to follow a lot of guidelines for that. Some people say sawdust is better than peat moss. For composting toilets, I've been using peat moss to cover it. It's about, what was it? I want to say $10 to $20 for a huge bag of peat moss. And I don't know. I bought 3 bags in 6 months, so I use a bag every 2 months. That's not bad. So I kind of look at it as like toilet paper. I'm not using that much, so. And it covers the odor. And I use like cedar chips, but then my house ended up smelling like a hamster cage. I tried, you know, cedar chips and peat moss. I tried mixing them together so I would get that cedar chip odor, but it ended up smelling like a damn hamster cage, so I didn't really like it. Peanut is sleeping in her crate over there. Are you going to do an update walkthrough anytime soon? Yes, I will be. I think before I install the windows. So right now there's probably about 10 episodes for the windows. I know you're going to kill me for that, but if you've been following the door series and like that, then you'll probably like the window build, which is behind me. And before I install those, I'm going to go into the tiny house and do a walkthrough, show you what it is now, and then I will show you, I'll probably document how I build it and how I change it and do all the plumbing over again. So it'll be another plumbing video probably, another construction related video, how to build an interior wall. There'll be a couple other videos to show it, and then I'll show the after. Have I ever lived in a basement? James Allman. Who's that? That guy sounds familiar. Jimmy. I'm blushing, Jim. Yeah, I've lived in a basement. I think I might have lived in your basement, Jim. Ah, that's funny. Where did you get the double pane glass for the windows? I'm having tough time. I'm having a tough time panes. Finding them probably is what you meant. But yeah, clear light window glass and mirror in Kernersville, North Carolina. It did take me a while. I was Google searching every day for weeks, and I finally found a company that would make me exactly what I needed. And I got my glass for the door, and then I've since got a quote from them for my windows, and they will also be becoming a sponsor of the channel, so that's awesome. Where do you sleep? Jim, your questions are... Will I release all the Windows series at once for the Patreon supporters? Pretty much you guys, the Patreon supporters right now, I think have 4 or 5. The Panda router ended up being part of that series, the assembly of it and the testing of it. And then I also have another video on it where I do how to make a template for it. But I'll be releasing those on like a daily basis. So you'll get them all way, way before they're released on YouTube. What kind of glass are you going to use? Handy husband. That's a good question. I looked at glass and I did some research on it. And plate glass is extremely dangerous. And also, since the tiny house is going to be moving down the road and it's probably going to flex and twist a little bit, I wanted to have the strongest window that I possibly can. So I am getting all tempered glass for all my windows. My door is already tempered glass, but it'll all be tempered glass, which is stronger and better for a tiny house, I think. I was watching, was it Tiny House Nation? And it was a kite surfer guy, and he had his house up on like this cliff or something, and then they moved the house from the cliff, or they moved it from like a building site to the cliff, and you could barely see it, but in the sliding glass window that he had, there was a huge crack in the sliding doors. And I was like, that's not tempered glass. I got you. Were you able to get Cat 5 hooked up? Yeah, I was. The Cat 5, I mean, so right now it runs from the main house, and then it runs to right up there. And then I have a junction point in so I can tee off into my computer here. And then it runs another something feet, 150 feet to the tiny house. The signal is so weak. It's ridiculously slow. I would never upload anything. I can only watch Netflix. For some reason, when it rains, my signal drops significantly, but I'm able to watch Netflix and chill. Hey, Jim, what is the most embarrassing question you can ask him? We can ask him. Jim, let's not, Jim. Jim, go home. What will be other project other than your house or another one? So after this door series, I have a bunch of videos that are coming out, which are all on Patreon. Again, links in the description. Plug it, plug it, plug it. Just $1 a month, and you can watch a whole shitload of videos. But I'll be doing electrical in the barn. I'll be doing an auger for the back of a tractor. It was just a fun drunk build that I did. It was kind of fun. And then I've always been interested in like the teardrop trailer. So I don't know. I mean, the tiny house is still really far out from being finished, but who knows? I think another tiny house build would be cool because I watched the framing videos that I did, which were pretty good, but I think there's so much more I could add to those videos and really help people out. So I'd like to do at least the framing of a tiny house and get the shell done and see where it goes from there. You were really in the trades at one time. So, Craig asked me, I was in the trades. Were you a framer, trim carpenter, or all-around carpenter? I did residential construction for 9.5 years. I would say 10 because, you know, I like to say that. But I did residential construction for 10 years, framing. I framed multi-million-dollar houses. The largest house I ever built was around 16,000 square feet. Thing was a monster. And a house like that took about 5-6 months to frame. Beautiful houses that I built. They're absolutely amazing. And it's not like your standard cookie cutter neighborhood houses. These things had a lot of complex angles and geometry, whatever you want to call it. But they were top-notch houses. Would I go back and do that again? Hell yeah. That was a fun life, but it's a very hard life. And when you start getting older, it starts to hurt on the body. And yeah. What are you drinking? Drinking vodka and Red Bull. Vodka and Red Bull. And when this is done, so I don't have to leave, I got another cup of ice with lemonade and vodka. And when that's done, I'll have a raspberry lemonade and vodka, but I'll have to make that one. That one's not made. Where in North Carolina are you, and where did you leave your accent? Where did you leave your accent? I'm in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I was born and raised in East Granby, Connecticut, small little town, Bradley International Airport. I left there when I was 27 years old, came down here to start a new career, and yeah, that's it. So I'm here. I was from there. How come you don't have a southern drawl? Where are you originally from? Listen, I can talk southern. How many days actually of framing out the tiny house? Oh, I don't know. See, when I framed it, I did it on my days off. I literally, I could have framed that whole house in a weekend, especially if I had like 2 people that really know what they're doing. Frame the walls, sheeted, the roof on it, Tyvek paper, have it watertight in 2 days. I'm pretty confident on that, and probably even quicker. But I did it on my own, and I think I spent, I don't know. I don't want to say because I don't really know. You also did that free house for that show. Yeah, I did. I worked on Extreme Home Makeover, and then I did a Habitat for Humanity, 1 or 2. I don't really remember. Jim Watson, how big is your not so tiny house? So right now I have a series coming out on YouTube about my door frame, and I really went into detail on how to make a door frame, because a lot of people, like Jim Watson saying, is that he bought a local, bought a used door or something like that. I forget what you said, small flaws. Yeah, but you can buy a pre-made door, but you need to make a frame possibly for it, or you might need to shrink the size of the door down so it better fits your tiny house. So I really went into great detail on how to make a frame for a door. I like that, Joe. Are you planning on doing a camera security system? I thought about that. I think if I ever go to like a tiny house convention or something, I'll take my GoPro and stick it up in the corner, set it on the lowest quality video, and just hit record, just so I can kind of watch. I don't know. That's kind of weird having like a lot of people walk through your house. No, I'm not a pimp yet, Craig. I need like 50 to be pimp status. When do you see yourself completely finishing your tiny house? I said originally that it was a 3-year build. I'm almost at a 1.5 years in, and the siding is going to cost way more than I thought. These windows are costing way more than I thought. Everything is costing way more than I had anticipated. So I'm going to stick with that 3 years, but if it ends up being 4 or 5, I'm fine with that. As long as my finished product is exactly what I wanted. That's good. What if they take your GoPro? I'll mount it. I'll mount it like up in the corner, like you can't reach it. It'll be high up there. You can't really film the whole house. I don't know. I keep like seeing like those trucks that drive by you on the highway that say like, you know, security system, $18.99 a month for yada yada yada. Those things are bullshit. You set off the alarm, the cops ain't gonna show up to your house till like 3 hours later because they go off all the time. Scott, on your plumbing, is it recommended to do PEX or can PVC be okay throughout the house? I know PVC can flex some, but price worries me. Someone told me, a plumber friend that I have saw my rain catchment system, and he told me that PVC can leach a cancer-causing chemical, which he's probably from California because everything causes cancer, everything. So I don't know. I don't drink the water that comes out of my PVC pipe water catchment system, but that kind of scares me. I tried to do some research and find some facts on that, and I couldn't really, but it's sometimes really hard to find information on Google because there's just so much out there, and you're looking for a really specific thing, and you've got to read for days. So, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't recommend using PVC. PEX is really cheap. I mean, you can get 100 feet of PEX for 20 or 40 bucks or something. Dirt cheap. I'm going to be buying way more PEX to make sure I have red and blue lines for the new construction that I'm going to do. And any leftover is going to be used on the other tiny house. Seriously, where's Peanut? Peanut is sleeping. God, leave me alone, guys. I'm trying to sleep. Yeah, she's sleeping. Sorry. How did I get Peanut her voice? I don't know how I got that voice. And I've tried to like make other voices because I really want to get another dog called Bacon. Bacon the internet expert is what Bacon's going to be. It's Peanut the troll and then Bacon the internet expert. And yeah, I've been trying to develop a voice for Bacon too, but that's not going too well. And that Bacon probably won't be a thing until the house is done. What's the point of a moisture barrier? Some people say you need it. Some say you don't. Beasley, good question. Moisture barriers, from what I've done research on and what I've learned, in colder climates, you need a vapor barrier. In warmer climates, you don't need a vapor barrier. So I'm in North Carolina. To me, it's generally pretty warm, and I don't think I need a vapor barrier. I could be wrong, but if you have snow on the ground for more than a month, then I would consider that a cold climate. If you are not getting much snow like here, then I don't think you need it. Rad, I'm hard of hearing. I'm hard of hearing too, man. I wish I could turn it up for you. Is it too low on the volume? Is PEX easy to work with? Yeah, PEX is really easy to work with. You just don't want to twist the pipe so much that it puts a kink in the pipe because that'll be a weak point. So you want to have slow, gradual curves. If it has to do a 90 or whatever, 90, then you should put a fitting in there. Are you going to Tiny House Jamboree this year? I'm going to try to get my house finished in time, but I'm worried about crossing the border. Have you talked to anyone about their experiences? I've been talking to Jake and Kiva from the Tiny Nest. I should have put their link in the description. I'll add it there later, but it's down there later if you're watching this later. But they went to the Jamboree. They liked it. I follow a lot of people on Instagram. There's actually another couple who's filming this week with Tiny House Nation who live in Winston-Salem. and they went with, oh, I can't think of her name, but she's in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm sorry, I can't remember your name. My bad. But the three of them drove out there, and I was really wanting to go, and I didn't find out that they drove out until the day that they left. They posted it on Facebook, and I was upset. I was like, damn, I would have went. Will I go? Yes. Will I go this year? I don't know. It would be an expensive trip. If I do finish my house, I would love to go. Take the tiny house with me and bring it. I said this in my last video. I would really like for it to be in an indoor place, possibly like Las Vegas. I think Las Vegas would be a great place to have a tiny house convention, and also bring in other companies that, you know, tiny house people use to build their tiny houses. So it would just be like a great place to get a lot of information, and just not tiny houses, but products we put in these houses. But yeah, I would like to go, but it would be very expensive. And that's it. Would you get a cat? No, I'm allergic. I mean, I'm kind of allergic to Peanut. If Peanut like rubs her fur all over my face, fur, is that what that is? Yeah, we'll call it fur. If she rubs it, I get all like itchy and sniffy and sneezy. So no, I would never get a cat, because cats just really screw me up. Do you put vapor barrier inside or outside? You always want the vapor barrier on the warm side of your tiny house. So on the inside. So you have your plywood, insulation, then the vapor barrier. So on my floor, if like I glued my plywood down, which I'm kind of like wondering if I should have done that or not, but I should have put possibly a vapor barrier down between the plywood and the joist. So there would have been insulation with the joist, vapor barrier, and then put the plywood on top of that. One thing that I just can't wrap my head around is that you're putting a whole bunch of holes into a vapor barrier once it's done, and that's kind of like, hey, how does that work? Yep, handy husband, you're right. What type of insulation are you using? Roxol or spray foam? I have been thinking about this for so long. I would really like to put spray foam in, but when you start pricing that stuff out, it is extremely, extremely expensive. I've been thinking about contacting a company that provides you like a DIY spray foam, and doing it myself and making a video promoting their product. But I haven't reached out to that company, and I'm almost at that stage now where I can start insulating, or at least put some in, and I think I'm going to go with the Roxol insulation. It's a good product. It reduces it. What is the word? I don't know what the word is, but it prevents mold. It is, well, mildew resistant is the words I was trying to think of. And it is a good R value. It fills the space completely. Jake and Keith over at the Tiny Nest just did a great video on how to install it. And I'll tell you, that man, he needs a pat on the back, because he took some time to put that stuff in. That was no joke. He was really tedious. I would be like, fuck this, and just throw it in there. I swore. First swear. Sorry. What do you think about minimalist living? What kind of necessity in the tiny house? No, is it kind of a necessity? Minimalist living in a tiny house. It's really not bad. I mean, I have everything else a normal house has. I mean, not yet, but I'm planning on having everything a normal house has. I just don't have the storage for crap. And I mean, if you like crap, then get a shed or something. I was thinking of buying a 20-foot, excuse me, a 20-foot shipping container and putting that next to the house. At some point, all these tools that I have in my workshop here are going to have to go somewhere, and I think to have a nice little 20-foot shipping container where I could have like a little makeshift workshop would be pretty cool. The only thing is those things cost a small fortune. Not really. They're like $2,000, and then I'd have to move it, so. Yes, Mr. Seth. I actually give him a shout out in my video coming up, and yeah, I talk to him occasionally too. He's got some money though, because he does a lot of big dollar stuff. I've noticed. I could never hire a company with like big equipment to come in, and yeah, he did use spray foam, and he kind of regrets it. I don't. Does he really? The vodka will rot your brain. No, it won't. I'm not getting drunk. Yeah, you know, I do agree with the spray foam giving you structural rigidity to a tiny house. It's kind of like the SIP system, which is another thing. I get a lot of questions about SIPs. Would I use them? No, I would not use them because I just don't think it's good to run stuff through. I think with my new design, it would be something that you could use, but electrical wires are a pain in the ass to run. So, yeah. It does add some strength to your tiny house, but if you use a good grade plywood, I don't think you really got to worry about it. I mean, I don't plan on driving this thing. Why is everybody saying I'm drunk? I'm not drunk. I haven't even finished one drink. Jeez. What was Difflock's question? How's your water system holding up? The water system's great. So right now I haven't put a gutter on yet, and I haven't hooked up my downspout system. And it has been, so like every 2 weeks, I think it's like 12 days. It's probably more than that. I think it's about 2 weeks. I need to get the garden hose and run it all the way out to my tiny house, and I fill my water tanks up. And it hasn't been a problem. The pump works great. The accumulator tank works good. The hot water heater was a small problem. I did freeze it this winter, and it cracked something in it, and I had to order a new hot water heater. And I had originally bought the cheapest hot water heater you can find on Amazon, and it is. I just read another question, so my brain got sidetracked. Yeah, it's been good. I mean, I still haven't bought the final hot water heater I want to use, but yeah. And the one I want to use has a element in it to prevent freezing. So when it does drop below freezing, it will heat the tank so it doesn't destroy it. There's just a slur too, so first. Do you have AC when it warms up? I had the AC on last night. I like sleeping in an ice box. If that thing is freezing cold, hell yeah. But in my bedroom, if you watch the bedroom hodgepodge video I did put an AC in, and yeah, that cools the bedroom. Once I get a little farther in my project, I'll be installing the split mini, which I already bought. But yeah, that'll be the heating and cooling. I'll probably end up leaving the bedroom AC in because I like it cold. How is your power going? Do you hit? Is my electricity good? Yes, the electricity is fine. I'm very mindful about the amperages that I'm using, since I only, what was it, 20 amps that I had, I think? And then I have a really long run, so everybody's saying that I'm losing a lot of voltage or amperage. I don't know what it is, but I haven't tripped it at all. I'm not running anything big. The split mini, I think, is only going to pull like 5 or 10 amps when it's running. So, yeah, I haven't tripped it at all. I've tripped out here when I do construction. I plugged in my compressor, but when I plug in my compressor, I shut all the lights off and make sure I don't have too much draw going so I won't trip it. I am still worried about that wire heating up and possibly causing a fire, but overall, it has been just fine. Have you experienced moisture problems in the tiny house? Yes, I have. The moisture is probably the worst thing. So Tyvek paper, which is what my house is covered with right now, only lasts for so many months until it is ruined. And also, I mean, I put a bunch of staples in it. I didn't seal it up across the top. So I have had water get behind the Tyvek paper, and which causes the water to soak into the plywood. And yes, I've had moisture problems on the inside of the house. And that is one of the main reasons I haven't brought you into the house, is because I'm slightly embarrassed about the moisture problems. There's been some slight mold, which sucks, because to get mold out of wood is nearly impossible unless you just dry the wood out completely. So I think once my siding goes on, it will dry the plywood out on the inside of the house, and hopefully the mold will go away. And someone's going to say black mold, and some of it might be. I mean, whatever. It's not that bad. Brand of the split mini, what was it? Pioneer? I can't remember. It was the cheapest split mini you could buy, which I really don't like buying cheap stuff, but the reviews that were on their website were decent. If you follow Tiny Houses on Instagram, a lot of people have gotten the product, and I've never seen anyone comment negative stuff about it. So I think it's pretty good. I got it at a 110 volt one versus the 220 volt. Because of my square footage, I can go with a smaller unit. I might be kicking myself later for that, but I will always have a secondary cooling and a secondary heating for the tiny house. So it'll be good. Bleaching kills. Yeah, I agree with you, Craig. That's what I was going to do. I was going to scrub the mold and then paint it. But then I was thinking, if I'm going to start filming inside, I'm just going to cover it up with insulation so that you won't see it, because it's only the bottom 4 feet of the wall. So I was just going to cover it up so that people don't see it and I don't have to deal with the comments. If Tyvek paper is short lasting, what's the point of using it? Tyvek paper is, I don't know what the hell. It's probably one of those things that you just use. I don't know. What's the point of using it? Fuck if I know. You're going to use the gap material between the siding and plywood? What's that mean? You're going to use gap material between the siding and plywood. Andy, I don't understand your question. I'm going to use gap. I don't know what that means. Have you put in your stereo yet, or is that on hold? I was thinking about wiring it with speakers and then having I think with the new design that I'm coming up with, I think a speaker system would be great, especially for like surround sound TV. So I will probably run some speaker wires. I'm not a big bass type person. I like relaxing music, so I'm not looking for some like crazy sound system. I think it'd be nice to have a sound system pointing out to my deck that I'm going to put on. I don't know. I'll probably wire it for surround sound in the entertainment room or the living room. Air gap with slats. Yes, no. I won't be putting anything in behind the siding. The siding is going to be cedar shakes, and it's going to go directly onto the Tyvek paper and plywood. Furring strips. Oh God, holy shit, I just missed a whole bunch of questions. Tyvek is a wind barrier, but it also is good for rain, isn't it? Yes, Bobby, you mentioned 1/2-inch plywood in all your videos, which is really 15-30 seconds, right? Do you use it for everything, roof and floor sheathing? No. Yes and no. So, yes, somebody messaged me on Facebook. I think it might have been you, Bobby. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I think it might have been. But they were talking with the big box store, and man, there's so many bugs in here. And they were saying about plywood, and someone told them to get like 11-30 seconds, which is literally like 3/8 of an inch plywood. I do not recommend using anything under 1/2-inch plywood. Now, when you go to the big box store and you say, I want 1/2-inch CDX, they're going to show you something that's 15-30 seconds. So it's just a hair under 1/2 inch. But when I say 1/2-inch plywood, That's what I mean. It's like 15-30 second 4-ply plywood. You use it for everything, floor and roof and sheathing. I put it, as long as you go 16 inches on center, then I think it would be acceptable to use it for your walls and for your roof. If you go 2 foot on center, it would possibly be okay for your walls. On your roof, you might want to look at something closer to 5/8 of an inch. Now, for your floor, you always want to use a tongue and groove 3/4 inch. I'm not going to say plywood because people get upset because the board I used was oriented strand board, and I have a real strong feeling about oriented strand board, but floor OSB is a much better quality than wall OSB. Wall OSB is really shitty. If it gets wet, it expands and it'll just fall apart and turn into sawdust. Did you run the plumbing? Why did you run the plumbing and electrical inside your exterior wall? Why not have the electrical pipes exposed on the inside of the house for ease of access? So this winter, I've been living in my tiny house and had to get to experience what it's like. And I did have frozen pipes at one point, and I learned a lot about it. And that's one of the reasons I'm changing my design, is so that in my crawl space that I have all my mechanicals in, all the plumbing pipes are going to come straight up out of there. I will have no plumbing in the exterior walls. You really shouldn't run plumbing in an exterior wall if you're in an area that drops below freezing. Why didn't I have it exposed? I could have put it behind, I could have put it behind the kitchen cabinets and then ran it behind the refrigerator and did some different things with it. But I just felt like hiding it in the wall would have been a good thing to do, but it turned out, well, I didn't have insulation, so it did screw stuff up. I gotta go to the bathroom. 45 minutes. Oh, shit. I was all screwed up here. I'm sorry. You still have this in. So I think it's worth buying a finished shell for a tiny house. You're going to buy something that somebody is trying to make a profit on. So tiny houses are really a small thing, very affordable to make on your own. And if you buy something pre-made, I think the quality you're going to get is pretty shitty. So I wouldn't recommend it. Maybe one day I'll buy them. I'll delete this video so no one ever heard me say that. But I don't think it's a good idea to buy a pre-made tiny house. I mean, the plywood I used cost $900. If you use OSB plywood, it would have been $250 or something like that. So that's a huge savings for a company that's going to build you a tiny house. I don't know. Joshua, I'm going to have to disagree with you. If you keep OSB dry, it is better than CDX. Imagine laying 4 paint sticks on top of each other. Josh, I'm just going to have to agree with you. I've built many houses, and I only built a few with OSB. That was because the builder that's what they bought and wanted, and it's just not a good quality board. I mean, it's crap. I mean, we can disagree on that, right? What is the best advice you have for someone who has little to no experience with building? What is the best way to learn about building a tiny house? I don't know. You know what? You can probably go on Craigslist and find a contractor who's just looking for work. Have them come over for a weekend when you start framing, or a week with you, and help you frame the tiny house. Once that frame structure is up and you have something solid, then you can probably figure out stuff. You know, don't rush him or her to do the project. Just try to pick their brain and learn as much as you can from them while doing it. Also, watch all my videos. That's lame. But yeah, I mean, you'll educate yourself. You don't have to search, you know, how to frame a tiny house wall on YouTube. You can go onto YouTube and just how to frame a wall, and you will look outside of the tiny house thing and find videos about regular framing a regular house. Hey Dan, did you consider the rest of the stuff going in your tiny house when you designed your door? Yes, I did, and thank you. Where my door is right now, it was going to open against the washer and dryer that I was going to put in. And now I'll be moving that front door to above the bedroom. And thankfully, it just swings enough so that it'll be 3/4 inches away from the ceiling when it's opened all the way. And that it'll also work there because it'll be opening up against my stairwell that goes down into my bedroom. But yeah, I considered everything about the door, the size, and everything. I thought about it a lot before I actually did it. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that. I'm just getting that now. OSB equals sponge. Josh, you're losing it. Yeah, a lot of people are saying, you know, volunteer with the Habitat for Humanity when they do builds. I did that. That's just crazy because, I mean, when we did the Habitat, I think we built 8 houses in one day. And I mean, like, studs to, from foundation to a finished roof and finished siding, windows installed in one day. And they contacted a bunch of contractors, and there was probably like 5 different companies working on each house. And these things just went up like that. So as far as like gaining some experience from that, it's so quick and just insane that I don't think you can really learn much. Maybe just by watching and being around these people while they do these things, you could learn. But Vinny, you're oh shit, Vinny, you're gonna get blocked or something like that, man. Yeah, Handy husband just said that he hired a contractor under the table. We love cash. Cash is like great for a contractor because that's just easy to make disappear. When you start getting the governments involved, no fun. Oh, can I show you pictures of the new foam core mock-up of your design? The last foam core design that I did is on YouTube, and it is it's the closest to what I'm actually building. I'm not going to build another one because it takes a lot of time to build one, and I'm at that point now where I can visualize it as the actual size it is. So I'm not going to be doing another one. So probably not. What's your opinion of using SIPs for a tiny house? I get this question all the time on Facebook. Would you use SIPs? What do you think of SIPs? SIPs. I don't like SIPs, which if you don't know what SIPs are, it's a structurally insulated panel. It's OSB, and then a bunch of foam in between. I don't know what the hell's inside of it. There might be studs in it, but I don't know what it is. I don't like OSB. I like the fact that it has the foam in it, so that's going to add some rigidity to it. But to run your electrical wires through that is going to be a pain. So I'm just not a fan. You can contact a SIP, structurally insulated panel company, and send them a plan saying, I want this, and they will send you all the pieces, and then you just got to put it together. I mean, you might have to cut windows out, and you need some special tools to do certain cuts on it. I just don't. I don't know. I personally would never use SIPs. Fuck me. What type of siding are you putting on the tiny house? What's your plan for heating and AC? Siding, I'm going to be doing R&R cedar shakes, which is rejointed cedar shakes. Very, very expensive. I did not price it. I thought it was going to be $1,000 to do my siding, but it's going to be close to $3,200 to just do the cedar shakes on my tiny house. Extremely expensive. I could get a more rough cut cedar shake, but I don't know. I'm just not there yet, so I haven't made that jump yet. If I do that, I don't know how the hell I'm gonna afford that. $3,000 is woo. That's 3 months of savings for me almost. What type of heating? I'll be doing a split mini duct. Do you kiss your mother with that mouth? My mother lives pretty far away. I don't see her that often. Oh, I like that. How and where would you bolt the frame to the trailer? Since I sorry, I'm reading the comments. Since I put a ledger board on the outside of my trailer and I bolted that ledger board to the trailer, which a lot of people don't do, they just start building right off their tiny house, and then they have that exposed frame on the outside of their house that you can see. But I bolted that 2x6 to the side of the tiny house, added width, and I had figured that when I designed my trailer so that I would end up at 8'6". But that is the bolts that are holding, like how a lot of people have these huge bolts that come through that are welded onto the side of the frame. That's what's holding the house down. The plywood ties that together. And again, I use the CDX, which connects the wall down to the thingy, down to that plate. So that's strong. If I were ever to do tie down bolts, I would do like Jake and Kiva did on Tiny Nest on YouTube. I would do threaded rod from the top plate all the way up where the rafters are, straight down through the wall to a eye bolt. And that eye bolt I could hook a cable up to or something, and I could anchor the house down. I live in somewhat of a, was it hurricane area? Tornado? One of those things, the land-based one that comes across the land. Yes, someone's going to say it. Tornado, I think? Yeah, tornado. Fuck if I know. But yeah, I'd like to tie the house down, and I would put a footing in the ground, a cement sonotube with probably a bell on the bottom of it, and then put some eye hooks in that, and so I could tie the house down. So the other day we were in this huge like tornado watch thing, and I was shitting my pants. It was like 12 in the afternoon to 3 p.m., where it's the time that I need to sleep because I work a night shift. And I was sitting in bed just shaking. I was like, oh my God, this house is going to flip over. I could hear the wind just hitting the side of the house, and I'm just like, oh gosh. And thankfully there was no tornado near me, but I was pretty damn scared, and I would have been way more comfortable if the house was tied down. The bedroom, Scott, I'm going to reword your question, but my bedroom is 3'3" right now. Do I want to change it? And did I change it? I would have liked to change it, but I can't now because of the redesign I'm doing, and the door is going to go in a certain location. If I had pre-planned stuff better, I could have made the door a little bit smaller, raised the floor up a couple inches, but that would all cost quite a bit of money to do. Yeah, I didn't raise it, and I would have liked to. I think if you're going to do a loft, you shouldn't go anything under 3'6". I do hit my head occasionally. I've only hit my head 4 times, but it can hurt. I'll tell you what. What do you do for work? Not answering that question. All right, I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Boom. Take a poop. No, I just had to pee. I broke the seal. The seal's been broke. Let's just talk among ourselves. I love the organized chaos. It really is organized chaos. If you follow me on Instagram, I posted a picture of all the pieces for my windows. There's 144 individual pieces. I mean, this being like the smallest piece is a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. Still needs a chamfer in it, but these will be the window stops. But insane project. Insane project. Do not make your own windows. I could have went and bought the nicest Anderson windows you could possibly buy. Personally, I think Anderson is a top-notch window. I could have gotten all wood with a metal frame on the outside, like really nice windows for what I'm spending. Where's Peanut? We need. Oh, where's Peanut when you need her? She's. I'm lying here. I'm up, though. You can let me out now. Peanut is not good. She got kicked by a horse today. I thought she was gonna die. It was a little crazy. She, for some reason, she likes. I think she might have some herding type breed in her, and she just goes after the horses and tries to herd them, and she barks at them, and she's crazy. Oh, geez, Josh, that's a tough question because I only understand half of it. Are your windows casement or SGBL or /DBL hung windows? Don't know what any of that means, but all my windows will be opening like this. So I'll have little like, oh, they're casement. Yeah, because I'll have casement window stops. So I'll have like a bar that gets locked and it'll hold the window open on an angle and they'll shut like this. I took them all apart, but yeah. I had one set up yesterday, but it's all gone now. I want the least. Yeah. Single hung or double hung. Single. Single, yeah. It's all going to be just one piece, and it folds up like this and comes down. Since tiny house windows are so small, that if you were to put like a, 2 windows in like this, you're going to have a huge piece of wood right in the middle, which is going to prevent light from coming in. It'll obstruct your view. So I wanted as big of a piece of glass as I could put into my frame that I'm making. So I think that single thing like that would be good. Since all my windows are longer than they are tall, I went with that design where it swings up like that. I could have made them swing out like this if I made a narrow window, but yeah. Double hung. Yeah. Is your state THOW friendly? Does code enforcement leave you alone? So let's talk about that. Is your state tiny house friendly? No, no state is tiny house friendly. The only place that would be tiny house friendly would be a town or a county. Every town, county has their own laws about a minimal square footage of a living dwelling. So, do you ever watch Jay Schaefer's videos, his interview videos? He talks about he wanted to build a small house, but he learned that you couldn't build anything in his county that was under 500 square feet, which generally is the whatever standard for houses in counties and towns and stuff like that. So for 500 square feet, that's where you get like the double wide trailers and stuff like that. So that's why he built the tiny house on a trailer, because it's a movable structure. A lot of towns will allow you to build a shed, but it's not a livable structure. As far as like code enforcement and stuff like that, I'm out of sight from the road. No one can see me. I don't advertise that I don't advertise my location. I mean, you might know what town I live in, but I don't advertise where I live. I tell very few people where I live, and I try not to draw attention to it. I wouldn't put a tiny house in a city where it's visible from a road. When are you going to do the outside? What are you going to do with that? As soon as my windows are done, those are going in. And then the next big purchase will be all the PVC trim, which somebody said they want like a plastic house or a house that doesn't require any work. PVC trim is something that I think is perfect for that type of thing. PVC is not going to rot. It doesn't need paint. It has, you can get it with a smooth or a wood grain finish, and I think it'll really pop nicely next to the windows and the siding. And again, I'll be doing the cedar shakes for my siding, which is going to cost a small fortune. Yeah, see, handy husband just said 1,000 square feet in his town. So yeah, all towns are going to have different building codes as far as a livable structure. I didn't research what my town's building codes are for a livable structure, but I live in a pretty rednecky, hick-ass town where people live in like pop-up campers in their backyards that they might like put in a barn or something. So to fly under the radar, there is towns that do have, you know, a secondary dwelling laws where you can build a tiny house on your property and people can live in them. I live in North Carolina, and there is Eustace Conaway, I think is his name. He was on the Mountain Men TV show, and if you've ever watched the show, he fought the town, or maybe even the state, because he had a farm which was operated as why can't I think of the words? Which was operated as like a place, an educational place for kids to come and see alternative living. And all his structures were hand-built from logs, put on stone foundations, and the town was giving him a hard time about that, saying that those are not built to today's standards and codes, building codes. So he fought, and he ended up changing the law in North Carolina where if it's a farm, you're allowed to have a dwelling like that. And so I think that law, there's a little loophole law that is in North Carolina. If I'm on a farm, I technically can live in my tiny house and it's okay. I can bypass those laws, but I will not venture into that unless it becomes a problem. Hey Dan, who was the guy who just poked his head in behind you? That's funny. A little scary. I got like chills in my back right now. Like, are you fucking kidding me? What the fuck you talking about? God damn! All right, there's one drink. Next drink. Can you build me a tiny house? No. No, I can't. He had a big knife. Oh, God. Motherfucker. Whoa! That don't no more. Maybe just a splash. That was a little more than a splash there. Killer. Whew. In a hockey mask. Can you build me my tiny house? Why not? Got you both. Ready? If I ever decide to build people's tiny houses, I will do what most companies do and build a tiny house, and then I'll put it up for sale. My tiny house is always for sale. It has the not for sale price on it. When it's done, it will have a sign on it that says not for sale, and then there'll be a price on it. And yeah, if someone gave me some money for my tiny house, I would I would sell it, but you ain't gonna get it cheap. That's for damn sure. And if I ever win the lottery, I want it back. I'm gonna buy it back from you at double whatever you paid for it. But yeah, no doubt, a bartender, his night job. That would be no, because that's not a conflict of interest here. I could be an ass. Craig, man, you coming up with some good questions there, bud. Any problems with the roof this winter? Unfortunately. So listen, I still need to add this into the description of those roofing videos, but do not cut metal roofing with a grinder. A metal roofing has a protective coating on the panel. It's got the paint, and then it's got like a I don't know, like a clear coat on it. Those hot sparks from a grinder land on that, melt that, whatever it's called, that coating on it, and that can cause rust. And so, Josh, if you want to message me on Facebook, you can. I can't right now, though. I'm sorry. But yeah, so I have like little specks of rust on my roof, which will forever be a problem. I think when my house is done and I've got like loads of money, because I'll no longer be investing in my tiny house and I'll just have like way more money than I know what to do with, I would love to go to an all copper roof, which would be absolutely beautiful on my tiny house with the design I want to do on the outside. So yeah, do not cut metal roofing with the thingy. What was the question? I didn't even answer the damn question. Oh, how's it been? Has it leaked or anything? I don't even want to admit this, but there's one spot which I don't even know why, but I have water coming in, not like pouring in, but I have one spot where the water's soaking into the plywood, and you can see it on the inside of the house. I went up there and I caulked every single joint that there was where I put that butyl tape down, and even that spot where I put that incorrect tape, that 3M tape that I used, I caulked all those joints, and I still had water coming in. The only thing I can think of is where the metal bends up like this and it fits in that track. I need to go back and crimp that metal so it's tight all the way along there. But that, if water's getting up and around that, that's, to me, is freaking crazy. Like, no way. That was an expensive roof. Yeah, roofs. Why did you name your dog Penis? It's Peanut, Peenies, Peens, Teeny, Peanuts, Teener. Any of those. It's not Penis. It's Peanut. That was a good, I wanted to read that one. Hold on. Yeah. Grinder bits are hot and gore through your finish. Yeah. He named his dog Peanut. Full-size appliances fit in your house. What's a stabbing van? Stabbing van? I don't get that. Oh, and Jim, you're asking Handy that question. Yeah, do not cut roofing with a grinder. Holy fuck, you guys. Another dog just walked in here and I jumped. Woo! Come here, Bullet. Come here, Bullet. God almighty. I'm still a little scared about that masked man that was behind me. God dang. Will full-size appliances work or fit in your tiny house? There is that one video on YouTube where it's like a tiny house tour. It's got like 7 million views. That would be great if I could have one of those. That would be awesome. But yeah, they put in a full-size kitchen, full-size refrigerator and stove. And I'm not a big cooker thing, and I originally had planned a larger kitchen than what I'm going to end up with. But I will end up getting like a Danby gas stove which I think it's only 2 feet by 2 feet, but it's still 4 burners. It just doesn't have that huge space in the middle, which most of those have. So you could make your tiny house. I mean, if you're going to make it longer, you could make full-size appliances work. I don't need that. I will have a dishwasher, so that's only going to be like 18 inches wide, I think it is. Did you move the shower? Not yet. I'm going to move my shower, though. Then I'll redo my plumbing. All that undercarriage plumbing that I did, that's all going to get moved from like the walls and stuff where it all drains out into all those pipes underneath my trailer. All that's going to be gone. And I will have one drain out the bottom of my tiny house. And I'll possibly install a P-trap, even though you don't really need a P-trap in a tiny house if you don't have a septic system, which if you have a septic system on a tiny house, what the hell are you living in a tiny house for? We're getting repeat questions. Why did you put your bedroom downstairs? I wanted my tiny house to be completely different from all these cookie cutter tiny houses you see. And if you've seen the inside or watched me build the inside of the tiny house, it is unlike any other tiny house you've ever seen. It's not cookie cutter, and that's one main reason I went with that design. And I go over that in the Q&A I'm going to do with Jake and Kiva soon, which will probably come out in like a month. We did a collaboration together, and we asked each other questions, and there'll be a video on my channel, will be a video on their channel, and we'll be cross-promoting. So I'll go over that more in that video. The length of my tiny house is 20 feet. What's the amount you've invested so far? What do you think the whole project will end up at? So originally my goal was $30,000 to $35,000 was what my plan was. I don't keep a spreadsheet tally, which a lot of tiny house builders do, is they keep like every little thing. I don't really give a crap. I have my wants and my needs, and those are all taken care of. And if I need something, I go and get it. If I have to save up for it, I get it. So right now, with the windows, these windows are extremely expensive. The most expensive tiny house windows I think you could ever put in a tiny house. But I think once these are done, it's going to be right around $18,000 to $20,000. Once the sidings and the trim's done, once the exterior of my house is done, I'm going to be right around $25,000, which is insane. And then the interior, oh boy, that's going to be a crazy one. If I can end up with solar on my tiny house, solar on my roof, and batteries in the basement, inverter, all that stuff, and a finished tiny house, everything that I want for under 40 grand, I'll be happy. If it ends up being 45, 50, I won't be surprised. So, yeah. Do you plan on living on that dude's farm for a while, eventually on your own property somewhere? No, that's not too personal. I plan on staying here for as long as I can. I've got a great deal with the, I'll call them my landlords, but I do a lot of projects around the farm, which you'll see videos coming out soon once that door series is done. Things that I do on the farm. And overall, it's really a good thing. I mean, I've got enough electricity, I've got water, and I've got internet, and it's easy. I have to take care of the horses occasionally here and there, which sucks sometimes, but for free, dirt cheap rent, I can't complain. So I will stay here until I get kicked out. But yes, eventually I would like to buy a couple acres of land in the middle of nowhere, put the tiny house there, and live a subsistent life. But I don't know how you do that without some type of income. So that's why I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel to a point where I could do something like that. Woo! Yeah. Julie, wood stoves inside a tiny house are dangerous. Dry out the tiny house too much and keep feeding them to keep warm. Yes. And maybe there was a question above that that I missed, but oh, I missed some. Oh, I missed some. I'm sorry, guys. But the wood stove that I made, that propane tank wood stove, I've installed it. I used it, and like you just said, I'm sorry I missed your name there again, but it's a pain in the ass. It only burns for like an hour and a half, 2 hours if you're lucky, and you got to keep feeding wood into it. Those really nice, like stainless steel maybe, wood stoves are literally the same size as the one I built, and Tiny House 43, which is another YouTube channel, they just put out a video where they discussed that and said that they rarely used it. To me, that square footage that you need to have a wood stove is not very, it's not a good use of space because it needs a buffer zone around it, even if you put non-flammable stuff around it. How did you find the property you live on? I found the property through a friend of a friend of a friend. Not really. I gotta be a little vague about this, but if you go on, you know what? I'll just not even answer the question. I'll tell you what you should do. If you go on to Craigslist, post an ad saying, "I have a tiny house. I'm looking for a place to live," and post that out there. Put it in like for sale farm equipment or something. You possibly might find a farmer that's like, hey, this person's willing to pay me $100, $200, $300 a month to sell my property, and I'll probably offer your services to them saying, I would like to help you on your farm, maybe take care of your whatever animals you have, do little projects for you here and there. Post that out there for them to see. Also, get in your car, drive out into the country. When you see that farm that's got like a nice lawn, not the couch on the front yard with like the turned over refrigerator, like you don't want that one. But drive out there, find somebody that has a reasonable looking house, and knock and talk and just talk to people and see if they'd be interested in helping you. Make a flyer and give it to them with your contact information on it. And I don't know, just try to find something. I did talk to about 4 people about putting my tiny house on their property, and they all were okay with it. Some of them had time restraints. Some said, I could stay there for 6 months. The place I'm at now gave me no time restraint. All they said is they want me to work about 10 hours a week on their farm, and it's been great. I mean, I might not work 10 hours every week, but I might work 40 hours in 1 week on their farm. Not that much, but I clean the stalls, I feed the horses, all these projects that I've been doing, which you'll see coming up. Yeah, but yeah, offer your services. Not that type of services, though. That would be illegal. Don't do that. That's not good. I'm reading questions, sorry. All right, that's a good question. Why do you think it's so much more expensive per square foot to build a tiny house? Because in a tiny house, you're still putting the exact same stuff inside of the house, the tiny house. The square footage overall, like if you were to build a huge room, isn't going to cost much. All you've got is some plywood and hardwood flooring and then some more sheetrock on a 20 by 40 foot room. Now, if you made that smaller, you still have the same size walls and you just have a smaller floor and ceiling space. So that square footage, it really doesn't matter. You can go big. You're paying taxes on that, so that becomes a problem and it becomes expensive. But as far as the tiny house, you're still putting that same stuff into it. I'll still be putting in a full kitchen, smaller appliances, but they'll still cost the same amount. And yeah, I think that hopefully answered your question a little bit. We have a few acres in the middle of nowhere, northern Idaho. No potatoes. Just lots of trees. You know what? I would like Wyoming. Oh, I'm sorry. I should read this question. You want a few acres in the middle of nowhere. Come to North Idaho. No potatoes. Just lots of trees. Oh, God. The question's gone. Yeah. I would like Wyoming, Nebraska. No, not Nebraska. I drove through Nebraska once. I'll never do that again. No. Colorado and Washington and Alaska would be places that I would like. Alaska gets a little too cold, and so does, is it Wyoming? Is that the one up top there, right next to Washington, maybe? Maybe 3 states over? I don't know. I'm not good like that. All right. Is the underside of your tiny house still okay? Do you not use... All right. Yeah. Is the underside of your tiny house still okay? I use pressure-treated plywood on the bottom of my tiny house. I did go and help another couple in Winston-Salem who's building a tiny house. Some people would say it's not a tiny house because it's over a huge amount of square footage. Damn thing's a monster. I think it's like 35 feet long, 3-axle. But beautiful house. And they got some really thick gauge metal. And looking at it now, eventually I will probably remove that pressure-treated plywood, reevaluate what's going on underneath there. I want to see if any molds happened underneath my tiny house. If it has, I would spray foam it and then put in the metal flashing that they used. It was a much thicker gauge. I was having trouble finding something, and this was right when I first started building, so I was really didn't do as much research as I do now when I do my projects. But yeah, the pressure treated has been fine, I think. I don't crawl under there much. Peanut does. No, that's my hang-ups. Case. Straight up from Colorado. Case. Really? Wait, what were you really? Oh, whoa. Oh, wow. I just clicked on the thing and my video link is like way behind. Way behind. What's your finished material you plan on going with on the inside, flooring, walls, and ceiling? What is the finished material you plan on using for the inside of the tiny house, flooring, walls, and ceiling? All right, my ceiling, I'm gonna go with beetle-killed pine. I don't understand, but that for some reason is like this tiny house staple, and I like it. I think it looks good. I don't want to do my walls in it, but I think it'll look good on the ceiling. So I'll be getting 220 square feet. I need 200, but I added 10% when you price out square footage and stuff. You always want to get 10 to 20% more than what you actually need for cuts and wastes and stuff like that. So I'll be getting 220-ish square feet of beetle-killed pine. And now I live in an area that doesn't have that horrible beetle that kills the wood and adds that grayish color to the wood. So I need a special order that from my company. And I spoke with that company, and they will be sponsoring a video coming up. And I will be showing you how to install that product and doing all that stuff later. My walls, I really like Jake and Kiva's accent wall that they did. They got some like reclaimed barnwood or something, and they did one wall, like the short wall on the, I don't know, front or back of their house. And it's a much darker wood than the rest of the house. I really like how that looks. So I'm going to be doing some type of accent wall. I've looked into like getting walnut and doing walnut on like the headboard of my bed and then having it run up into the living room. And I think it would look absolutely amazing. It would just cost a small fortune, but if all goes well, I will probably do that. And then for my other 3 walls, I'll be doing a tongue and groove pine, and I'll probably be whitewashing that. As far as other types of stuff, I don't know. I have a lot of built-in cabinets going in, and I probably will go to the lumberyard and say, you know, I like that wood. Let me get that. And whatever it costs, I don't really care. I'd rather work with a whole bunch of different types of wood and learn about different species of wood and how the grain work. I don't know. I get off on wood. I'm sorry. I'm not gay. I think wood's hot. Can you give us a sneak peek to the windows? Sorry, glass yet? Can you give us a sneak peek of the windows? Saw the frames last night. Glass yet? So I got a price. So I got a price on the glass. The glass is going to be really expensive, almost $1,000. But these are going to be the windows. This is the smallest window that I have. And on the inside, it'll be just like my door. I'll have this little lip right here. The window will go in here, and then I'll have a window stop. And then all these have been routed out. The hinges, what number is that? That's a 6. Yeah, so I made all these custom fit a top plate thing or a top sill. That's stupid. That's not what it is. But a piece of wood that's going to go on here that holds the hinges. So I have 9 pieces that go on here with the hinges, and these will all open, not like this, but they'll all open like this. I bought some hardware. These will be my locks for the inside of the windows. They'll go on like here-ish, and then they'll go into a little latch that I have here. Now, when I bought these, I'll probably make a video of this, but these were all like shiny gold when I bought them, and I've been aging them in like a bronze ager. I bought like this chemical, brass ager, and there's a process you got to go through to make something like shiny metal look like aged bronze. And then I'll probably put a clear coat of polyurethane on each of these. That you could spray something with a what's it called? I can't think of the word, but a spray paint that makes it look like an aged bronze, and put that on there. But since these are going to be touched and handled all the time, I think this chemical acid that I did will look pretty good. What are you planning for home media / office? Since I'll be moving my living room, I want out of the crates. Since I'll be moving my bathroom and kitchen to the other side, I have this huge space now that's almost like 9 feet by 8 feet wide, where I'll be putting in a actual love seat, double reclining love seat. Like I really like a reclining couch, but I can't put a full couch in there. So I'll get a love seat, and I'll put that on one side, and then on the other side I'll do a built-in entertainment center with a much larger TV than you would typically see in a tiny house. All that entertainment equipment that you would typically see in some $1 million house, I'll be putting in there. And then it'll also give me an opportunity to put a desk next to that love seat before you get into the kitchen, and that desk will hold a computer and stuff like that. But yeah, that's what I'll be doing for that stuff. Wow, that's disgusting. Why latch the side and not bottom center? Bottom center is what I usually see. 2 latches, 1 on each side. Yeah, the latches, I just felt that I wanted to do 1 on each side. I felt it would be cool to like locks right there, and then you open it, and then there'll be a casement lock that you got to get, which are extremely expensive. These right here were, I mean, I go over this in future videos, but to get these in oil rub bronze was $25 each. The ones I bought, which were gold, cost $5 each, and I had to buy 18 of them, so it still cost me $100 just for the latches. But this cost $30, so I'm saving a lot of money. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm hoping this works. They look all right, don't they? Eh? No, you can't really see. I don't know. I think when I clear coat them, will look good. But a lot of work to make that happen. Could have used lemon juice to age it. Really? I might try that because this acid's not working. This is it right here. No, that'll get you fucked up. Where's Peanut? Seen enough of the door, yeah. So the door series I've definitely been getting some shit for. It's been dragged out too long, but I really enjoy making these videos, and it really motivates me to continue. The last like 4 days I've been working out here, I haven't filmed at all because my Windows series has just gotten too long, and I think I'm gonna run into the same problem. So I've kind of stopped filming, so that it won't bore you guys, and hopefully I don't run out of videos because right now I'm trying to do 2 videos a week, and that's a lot of work, but I don't know. I like to document everything I'm doing and possibly educate people. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing all the time, but you can definitely learn from my mistakes, and to show what I'm doing and you seeing the mistakes I'm making, I think is good. Would you consider selling your old camera? Are you off grid? I'm not off grid. I could be. Eventually, I think when my tiny house is done. Are you off grid is the question. I think eventually when I'm done with my tiny house, I will be 100% off grid. I would like to put solar in and have rain catchment. But with rain catchment, you need rain. And I only have 200 gallons of rainwater storage, which only lasts about 2 weeks, which means I would need, I forget what it was, but like 2 inches of rain every 2 weeks, or an inch of rain a week. And you generally don't get that. You get like 4 inches and then no rain forever, and then you get 2 inches and then you get none. So water would be a problem. So if I were ever on a homestead type place, I would need some type of stream, brook, river, whatever it is, and I could do a ram pump system to get water up to my place. You ever consider selling your old camera? I have 2 old cameras. I got the GoPro. Oh shit. Probably shouldn't do this. Shit is gonna happen. This is my rig that I used to use. So I've got my transmitter. No. Yeah, that's the receiver is right here. So I like to have good audio in my videos, so I spent a lot of money on microphones. This right here was a Asden wireless lavalier Pro or something like that. Transmitter, receiver, and then instead of using that big camera that I had there, I used the GoPro for most of it because it's just me filming and recording and doing everything. So I like that wide angle shot that I use. So I would use this, but then I had a problem with this, which you've probably seen if you watch the video, but my mic input got screwed up. One of the wires got bent, so I couldn't plug in. So I switched to this for a couple of videos. But now I've got that absolutely beautiful camera. This thing. This is the Canon 70D. This thing is, you want some toe curl action right there. That's it. Look at that thing. God, let's take a moment to play with this. Nope, don't eat. That's inappropriate. Inappropriate. But yeah, that thing is sexy. But yeah, it's got a very, very nice microphone system, which I'm still learning how to use. And I set this thing on a manual mode because I don't really know what I'm doing with this technology. But overall, it's pretty good. My white balance is a little off, and it sometimes is too bright. But that thing is great. I love it. It makes my toes curl. My job. People are asking about the job again. If I ever get to quit my job and do this full time, or do something related to tiny houses, help people build and do stuff like that, then I will tell you what my job was, but you probably won't like it. No, you'll love it. You'll think it's great. Was it cheaper to build your custom flatbed trailer? I kind of went over this earlier. Not really. I spent $3,200, spent 40 hours of work on it. So you count, say your labor is $25 an hour or whatever it is, $25 would be the cheapest. But no, not cheaper. But very rewarding to build your own trailer, because I can say I built my trailer from the ground up, which is great. Canon, stop rubbing it in, Dan. I mean, it's nice. I mean, I'm a YouTube consumer, and if you watch Casey Neistat, besides the microphone, this is the camera Casey works with, and then he's also got. Oh shit! I freaking moved the camera. That sucks. But he's also got the Gorilla Pod, which I hate. I brought my camera one time, like 3 days after I got that thing. It was on this thing, and I was setting it up, and I hit this button, and this slid off, which was holding the camera, and it fell. And that video comes out in like a couple weeks, and that sucked because that damn camera was brand freaking new. I was so pissed. So I'm not a very big fan of this thing. It kind of sketches me out, but this is how Casey films his videos. He's a great YouTuber. If you don't follow him, he's great. And then also Wrangler Star. If you watch Wrangler Star, he uses the same camera, the 70D. Not cheap. Nothing about that is cheap. But most of you guys helped support that right there. That was fully fan funded right there. I need another bathroom break. Sorry. What's the next question? Do you enjoy teaching? I do. That's like the favorite part of the whole thing. Ah, shit. Well, I gotta cover this real quick. I'm reading the comments. Let's tell him he has something on his face. I do not do it. A little scruffy. Listen, I need to cover this again. I'm sorry. You can still hear me. Trent, not funny. No, it's not over there. 65. It's still going. No. I do not promote smoking at all. So I try not to do such things in my videos. I did not forget to zip up there. WT, I didn't forget it. I do in a lot of my videos. I forget to zip up. All right, let's go back to Emmy's question. Holy shit. Let's put that back up there. Don't hit the internet. Don't hit the internet. That'll ruin this. We're almost done, guys. Emmy, I liked your question. Where'd it go? Shit. Do you enjoy teaching? I like that. I really like, I mean, some of my videos are not really educational. They're me learning how to do something and you guys getting to watch it. I really enjoy entertaining. A lot of this Windows series won't be any educational. It'll just be a shit show, excuse me, of me acting like an idiot and doing the projects that I do. And generally I'll be pretty drunk when I'm doing them, and I think they're kind of funny. I mean, I don't really laugh that much, but I kind of chuckle when I see stuff that I say. It's like, what the hell? But yeah, I enjoy making the videos, and I like the positive feedback that I get. I mean, I do get a lot of negative feedback, which, oh, what happened? My thought just got, I was reading. I shouldn't have read. What do you do for fun? I build my tiny house. If I'm not working my regular job, I'm out here working on a project. I live and breathe this tiny house. I do everything all the time about tiny houses. If I'm not working, I'm researching stuff for the tiny house. All my money and energy goes into making these videos, making forward progress on my tiny house. So what do I do for fun? I used to love mountain biking. I used to love kayaking. I used to love going camping. A lot of that stuff has been like put on the back burner because I've got priorities with the tiny house. Yeah, 65. The sound's working, buddy. What happened to the tractor post hole digger? It's coming. It's coming. Where are we at on the door? I can't remember. Like, we're on episode 2 of the frame, and then I've got one more frame, finish, trim installation maybe. So probably like in another like, I don't know. In a couple of weeks, the tractor auger video will come out. If you want to see it right now, though, you can go and check out the link in the description. It's called Patreon. Click on that and donate $1. Just $1 will give you literally 3 months of videos, which is 3, 6, more than that. I don't know. 6? No, it's going to be more than that. There's a lot of videos that are there on Patreon, and no, there's way more than that. I would assume that the Patreon supporters are probably 10 to 15 videos ahead of where my YouTube videos are actually at right now. And I have 5 to 8 videos on my computer that I'm editing right now. Yes, Paul, $12 a year. That's it. And listen, you can, I hate to say this, but you can pay $1. And if you think it's stupid and you don't want to continue supporting it, then you can cancel and you won't be charged $1, which sucks. But I think if you want to help build a second tiny house, which is what all that money's going towards, I've been taking that money that I get from the Patreon and putting it in a jar. Right now I'm at $220, and I am actively looking for a trailer to build a second tiny house on. So it is it's something that it's going to be beneficial to everybody when I finally get to do that. And I personally, I can't afford to do it, but if you guys want to support that, it's very, very, very affordable, and you're going to get so much more content. Yes, there's a lot of Patreon supporters right here. Oh, I know. Oh, hell yeah, Paul. Last time I promoted it like this, I got like 3 or 4 new ones. It was good. Yeah, WT, man. You the man. All right. Can you imagine? We've been doing this for almost 2 hours. I think that was good, though, guys. What do you think? As a contractor builder, were you surprised in any way when you started building your own tiny house? Not really, Bob. Bob, I don't need to look at your profile picture, Bob. Do I know you? I don't. Oh, Spy Pocket. Hey there, bud. As a contractor builder, were you surprised by anything ways building a tiny house? I wasn't really thrown for any major loops. With the framing of my tiny house, it was pretty easy for me. I did it for so many years. I built so many houses, and when you build one house, there is literally a shit ton of walls that you got to build, and it's literally in a tiny house, there's 4 walls that you have to build, plywood and stand up. So it's really easy. I did have some challenges on how to raise the walls by myself, which if you watched the Not Safe for Work video that I did, I showed you how I raised the wall by myself, and I would love to go back and refilm that. I did lose audio for that entire day and a half that I filmed, and I lost a lot of great content from that, but I did get to like refilm it kinda, but I only really showed one wall that I framed and did that whole process on. But those videos have definitely been a huge hit, and I would like to go back and really like nail some stuff down and show people how to frame around a wheel well, because I still for some reason I still see people framing wheel wells with two plates laid horizontally or whatever, flat like this, which is the stupidest thing in the world. It drives me nuts. I hate it. But wheel wells do not support weight. You don't put weight on a wheel well. And if anything, you want your plates off your wheel well so it's not pushing on it and the moisture will get in between that. No, not good. So yeah, I would like to redo that. What's your most expensive tool? Well, you want to see it? Let me show it to you.
Oh my gosh, are you gonna let me out?
Can you see it? This is my most expensive tool. This is a tilting hybrid panel router. I'm not going to tilt it because it's all set up, but that is the sexiest tool and the nicest tool I own. That is the nicest tool I own. Yes, the panel router. And that is coming up. I've got 3 videos on that. I got one video where I assemble it, and well, that video I edited it twice. I made a rated R version, and then the sponsor hybridpanelrouter.com, if you would like to purchase a panel router, hybridpanelrouter.com, asked if I make a PG friendly version. So I've edited it twice. I've got a like 35-minute video, which is like a shit show funny video, and then I've got a 22-minute video, which is serious, me assembling it. There's a couple laughs, but nothing inappropriate. He's drunk. Yeah, that's my most expensive tool I own. The chop saw, the DeWalt compound miter sliding chop saw is the next. Well, shit. This is the most expensive tool. I'm sorry. This is the most expensive tool I own. And this is what makes all my videos. This and the computer. The computer, those are my 2 most expensive tools. But yeah. Dominic, we love you. Dominic, please be positive, my man. You need a little smile more in your life. Ben Lennon's Tech. Is there anything you would have done differently? Just the bedroom height. The DeWalt chop saw, the compound miter saw, like the biggest DeWalt chop saw that you can buy. The nicest thing is, I believe it's like $5.99. I think that's right. I think it's like that. And then I got the laser on it, which was another $100. So it's a $600 to $700 tool. But I've owned that for probably almost like 8 years. I've owned it. So yeah, I've definitely made some money with that tool. I mean, if you do it professionally, then yeah, I would get something like that. But if you're not, then a Ryobi chop saw, I owned one as like just like something I could use, throw in the back of the truck and just use as like a shitty saw. It was like $40 that I bought used. I mean, if you want a good deal on tools, good quality tools, I recommend going to like a pawn shop and buying something, a good quality tool. Stay away from B&D, Black & Decker. Not big. I censored that one out on my own, but yeah, get a good quality tool. I mean, I really like DeWalt, but it's an expensive tool, but it's a quality tool. Yeah, is that good? That's good enough. Yeah. Yeah, Paul, you were right. Chop saws are not cheap. How much money do you currently have? Like in my bank account right now? I just got a notification from my bank saying that I have a limit set, so I get an email saying how poor I am, and I got one saying, hey, you're getting to that poor level right now, which I know, but that's okay. Generally, if I'm like saving up for something, like right now I'm saving up for my windows, the glass that goes in the windows, I will go to the bank and I will withdraw as much money as I think I will like need to save and be able to live the rest of the 2 weeks because I get paid every 2 weeks. So right now I'm on a budget friendly lifestyle. So there is no stake in the near future for at least another week. And even then, the next paycheck is going to be just another big chunk of money getting taken out because I need to save up for the windows for a whole month. And when the siding comes, that's going to be ridiculous. But how much money do I have currently? Not much. Not much for like pleasure. I had enough for that. Well, people are going to get mad. You should drink this type of vodka. Listen, go over that. Vodka's vodka. Somebody's going to say, you should drink like rum or whiskey. Fuck that. The vodka is the only alcohol that I haven't had problems with. What vehicle do you own? I own a... There's still 70 of you watching. That's crazy. What vehicle do you own? I own a Subaru Impreza. I think it's a 2008. And yeah, it cannot tow a tiny house. That's not happening. So if you've done research on tiny houses and about towing, if you need to move your tiny house, I think it's the most cost efficient is to rent a U-Haul. Now, if you rent a 14-foot U-Haul, I believe it is, it can tow 12,000 pounds, might be 10,000 pounds. There's a couple right now, Tiny House Expedition. Tiny House Expedition is driving around the U.S. and they are making a documentary film. They are actually from the town that I live in right now. And hopefully, I would love to make it in that video. I would have loved to be like a sponsor for that video, but it was sold out. I believe they might be towing their tiny house throughout the U.S. with a U-Haul trailer, which is a sponsor for their cause. And they did a huge like Habitat build, Habitat for Humanity, not Habitat, like a restore build. But that is something that can tow your tiny house. And then also, if you need to move your tiny house, any tow truck company will move your tiny house. It's going to be an hourly rate or a mileage rate. And it's to me, it's the most cost-effective way to move a tiny house is either a tow truck or a U-Haul. Cool? Unless you know somebody owns like a big-ass truck. What made... Oh, shit. Yes, but how long would it take to build one? You could build one in 3 months if you had a lot of money saved up. But I don't have a lot of money, so it's a real quick thing. Yeah. I mean, if you live in the redneck country, you can always find somebody with a truck. I mean, I'm lucky I know somebody with a big truck, so I was able to tow it here. Yeah, no, Eric, you did not step on my toes. Why pay rent when you can make and live much cheaper? You are so right. I mean, I I know somebody right now who's selling their house and going to move into an apartment. That is equity. I mean, you're putting money into somebody else's pocket. Um, if I could get approved for a mortgage to buy a house, I probably would buy a house and I would do these same projects, but in my house that I own. But I can't get approved for a loan because in my early 20s, I was an idiot with my money, and my credit is either non-existent or horrible. So I think, putting money into something that you can have for the rest of your life is so much better, like either buying a house or building a tiny house. And that's why I'm building it the way I am, because I couldn't get approved for a loan I could get a personal loan for 30 grand and build a tiny house, and I would have been good. But yeah, no, I agree with you. Why put money somewhere? Does this get deleted after the live feed? No, it doesn't. It will be uploaded right after, as long as I don't get a copyright claim, which I shouldn't because I haven't played any music and I own everything around me and there's nothing, I don't think. I hope not. Yeah, it'll be uploaded to YouTube after. It's going to be 2 hours and 3 minutes long. That's insane. I can't believe questions are still coming in. If you haven't hit that thumbs up button, would you hit that thumbs up right now? And I'll possibly do another one next month, maybe. What do you think of the idea of using gooseneck trailer? I have been looking at trailers. Domanian. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. Shinsen. What do you think of the idea of using a gooseneck trailer? So I've been looking at a new build that I'll be doing soon, and I've been looking for a dirt cheap 1980s style camper that I can turn into a tiny house. And I've seen a couple. Everything I've seen around here is like $900, which is out of my budget. I'm looking for $400 to $500 or free trailer. I've had somebody in Texas message me saying if I would come and pick it up that I could get a free like 30-footer or 24-footer. I was like, damn, that would be awesome. But to drive to Texas would be a small fortune. So yeah, I'm looking for something local. And a gooseneck, I think it's good. I think there's several tiny houses that have built on goosenecks. There's one really like famous tiny house. They've since added an addition off the back. I don't know their name. I can't plug them. I'm sorry, but they use the gooseneck, and where the gooseneck goes up, they put their bedroom up there. Then they did a living room, and then in the back they did a kitchen and a bathroom. And then they used to have like a porch off the back, but they've taken the porch off and they've added a kid's bedroom because they had a kid. Has anyone ever built a double wide? Is that a question for me? Maybe. The only thing with tiny houses I've ever seen. Oh, getting some Tinder love there, guys. Hey, baby. I'm in town for a week. Let's hang out. Yeah. Whoa. Might have to end this conversation. Whoa. Yeah, she's probably fake. What was I saying? Oh, double wide. So I've seen a guy, he did a YouTube video a long time ago. It was probably like 3 or 4 years ago. He did 2 like 20-foot trailers, and he made an L out of it. And I don't really watch tiny house TV shows because they're really gimmicky, I guess you could say, and there's really no education except for design ideas that you could get from it. There's nothing that would help you build your tiny house, but just things that you could picture in your tiny house. But there was like an L-shaped tiny house. I think it was 2 20-footers put together, and I thought that was a freaking awesome design. And my original plan with my tiny house is if I were ever to get married and have kids is to do an L-shaped tiny house. Now that I'll be changing it, I'll have to rethink that idea because I won't be able to butt another trailer up to my front door, which would be like the throughway because I have windows underneath. I possibly could do it. If I had some big equipment, I could make it work, but I don't know. I have seen not double wides like this, but double wides side to side like that. Is there a good wall choice for tiny houses on wheels? Austin, good wall choice. Many different options. If you are in a very cold climate, I would recommend using a 2x6 frame. I knew on Instagram there's Wild Rose. She did 2x6s because she is up where it's very cold, and you want that extra insulation. That extra 4 inches of square footage you would get on the inside of your house, I think would be better using, you know, more insulation so your house is better insulated. But what general area do you live in? I will tell you I live in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, but my P.O. box is in Yadkinville, North Carolina, which is just outside of Winston-Salem. So if that gives way too much away, then yeah, I'm probably in that general area. Where would you find most of them? Huh? I lost the question. I like that. Emmy, good questions, Emmy. Besides raising the walls, when would another person have been helpful and necessary during the builds? The roof was a real pain in the ass by myself. I mean, to have somebody else there that knew what they were doing and I could count on, I could yell out a number to them and they could make it happen and get me the piece while I was installing one, and it would have gone quicker. I wouldn't have had to go up and down the ladder as many times as I did. That would have been a huge help. Framing, I mean, I did that. You know, me and another guy would frame these $1 million houses, and that was fine and dandy. I like that. Bree, why would you choose wood frame versus steel? The only reason I chose wood versus steel is because I was comfortable with wood and I understand how it works and what it needs to be structurally sound. Steel, I'm uncomfortable with. I only had worked with it 1 or 2 times before. So I decided to not do a steel frame tiny house. There is a tiny house guy in Australia who's building a tiny house, and he had a company build it out of steel, and I don't know. That's just not something that I'm knowledgeable with, so I don't know. I think overall it would be lighter, but as structurally sound as it was, I don't know if it was very structurally sound. Holy fuck, you stink bug. You mother... Don't swear. I've only swear twice. I'm doing very good. Fan mail through your P.O. box. Yeah, I thought about that. You don't need to pay me to look at your tiny house plans. On Facebook, I get messages on Facebook every day. Every day I get somebody that messages me. So if you would like to send me your project, pictures, anything, if it gets to a point where I'm unable to answer questions, then yeah, I'll be slow in my responses, but I generally have a pretty good response rate on Facebook. Yeah. No, I don't accept money like that. Join me on Patreon, please. Yeah, there are 3 being built in Australia in steel. I think not in the U.S., but in many other countries, the weight for a road legal vehicle is much lower than it is here in the States or U.S., whatever you want to call it. So a lot of people in other countries have to build it out of lighter material. So an aluminum frame for their trailer frame, and then they'll build it out of steel. So, yeah. Okay. I'm going to tell you guys something. I just want to have a cigarette. I've been hiding it like my whole like video series. I like hide that I smoke, but I just want to have one and I want to continue. I should have probably just quit instead of saying that. Ah, you dumbass. Let's see what people have to say before I light this bad boy up. Smoke, man, who cares? And this nice. I only smoke when I drink. How about that? I really feel like smoking is a bad choice in life to make. But I'm a smoker, and if you watch my videos, these damn things are occasionally like in like the bottom of a shot or something, and it always pisses me off when I'm editing a video and I see them just laying there. I'm like, shit. Ah! I really like to be a closet smoker. What was it that inspired you to build a tiny house? I like that question. What inspired me to build a tiny house? When I was 27 years old, I went from Connecticut to North Carolina. I moved back in with my parents. I go over this in a Q&A question thingy collaboration that I did with the Tiny Nest, which comes out soon. I moved from there to here, and I moved back in with my parents. And I was looking at alternative living, affordable housing is stuff that I Googled. And that is when I found, D. Williams and Jay Schaefer's videos about tiny houses. And then I really started digging into stuff like that, learned about shipping containers, yurts, all these different things that you could live in. And the tiny house was the best to me to live in. Don't smoke. Think about Peanut. Fuck. I'm getting shit for smoking. I'm sorry. What the fuck was I saying? So, yeah, I moved in with my parents, and I was going back to school to get a new profession, and I learned about tiny houses. I got a job when after a year of being here, I finally got a job, and I was making good money. And I kind of forgot about the whole tiny house thing, and that's when I moved into like this really like eco-friendly house. I mean, the thing was like 30 by 30. It was probably small, like 25 by 25. And then one day that job kind of like disappeared on me, and I was like, shit, I should have had, if I had that tiny house, I would have been okay. I could have went and greeted people at Walmart. Hello, welcome to Walmart. Easy. That was Donald Trump-ish. Easy there, buddy. But yeah, that's at that point I was like, shit, if I ever get back to the point where I'm able to afford building a tiny house, I'm going to do it, because tomorrow, if I go to work and I get fired for some weird ass reason, I'll be okay. I won't be able to continue building on my tiny house at the rate that I am, but I'll be able to go to some gas station and get a job ringing people up for their cigarettes, and I'll be fine. I mean, I can get by on such little for my monthly expenses living in this tiny house. Yeah. So what inspired me to build it was affordable living. See, he's going to smoke. He's got to go outside to smoke. See, I'm already kind of outside. I'm not in my house, so I can smoke here. But I shouldn't even brought up the smoking. I should have just did it. We've lost all the questions. Holy shit. 10 out of 10 people who smoke will die from smoking, unless hit by a bus first. But we will all die sometimes, some way. It's a choice. Thank you, Rob. I agree with you. Yeah. Holy shit. All right, I need questions, guys. I've run out of. How often do you meet people in person that want tips or help with building their tiny house? I have, I've always like waited for that moment where somebody's like, "Oh my God, you're that guy on YouTube that builds tiny houses." But no, that is only in my life happened once. I caught it on video when it happened, but it was on my like original Mac computer, and that Mac computer is buried in boxes, and it's so hard to turn on. It's like a process. But I've never met anybody in public that was like, "Can you help me with building a tiny house?" I always like reach out to people that I know that are local and ask if I can come and work with them on their projects. And then again, a lot of people are really uncomfortable about being on video. So a lot of times I don't document stuff like that. My trailer builds, I didn't talk during that whole project because to me, it's kind of awkward talking to a camera in front of people. It's always just me and a camera, so I can act like an idiot and it's okay. And then I can edit stuff and make myself look somewhat normal. I'm not normal though. But yeah, a lot of people don't want to. I would like to, document other people's projects, but a lot of people don't want to be on video, so I don't. One of the shirts coming, the hats. The hats, I don't have one right now. Oh, here's really a dirty one. So this hat, I know it's really dirty, but I got a new logo made. It says Tiny House Customs, and I've noticed, if you can see from like this point, you can't read tiny, you can read house and customs. So I have since redesigned that logo, paid some more money for that, and if you follow me on Facebook, Instagram, you've probably seen the new tiny house logo that I'm going with. Tiny's much bigger, and yeah, that will get put on hats to start out, and I'm gonna get 50 of those made, and I would really, really, really like that to be an all cash sale. So I'll, do a video on it saying if you want one, you can send me cash to my P.O. box, and I will send them out to you. And I know it's probably illegal, but the cash will be easier for me to deal with because I have to pay taxes on all this crap. Any money that I make, my YouTube earnings, Patreon, donations from GoFundMe that I did, and any donations that I got checks, I have to pay taxes on. So I'd really like to keep the that terrorist group URSS out of my life. But that's girlfriend. Now we're getting too personal with these girlfriend questions. What things are you most looking forward to building into your tiny house? I mean, I shouldn't have kept reading. Every part of the tiny house build I've been enjoying. The front door was something that I had. If you watched when I did my like plate layout video, I said that I was going to build my own front door, and I said if that goes well, then I'd like to build my windows. And I've since built the front door, and that was such a rewarding project, the nicest thing I'd ever made in my life. And so I decided to tackle these windows that are behind me, and that's been it's been a project like nothing I could ever imagine, and it's been way more expensive than I thought, but it's very, very cool. Girlfriend. Do I have a girlfriend? Do I have a boyfriend? I don't have a boyfriend. I'm not gay. I'm sorry, gentlemen. If you're gay, I mean, that's completely fine with me. I'm just not that way. And a girlfriend, no. I have such like, it's gonna sound bad, but I have priorities in my life, and right now my priorities are my job that I have, and then my YouTube, and then my tiny house build. But the tiny house and YouTube kind of go hand in hand. So a lot of like what I do on my days off are revolved around making content for you guys to watch and building my house. So as far as girlfriends, I've had girls break up with me because of the priorities in my life. Do you smoke? Just cigarettes. I don't smoke. There was another question in there that I liked. Where'd it go? How old are you? I'm 32 years old. There it is. 32, and I'll be 33 in June. What is one item that you're going to have in your tiny house that would consider a luxury, but you're... I like that, Alex. What is one item in your one item that you're going to have in your tiny house that you would consider a luxury, but you're going to have it anyways? A lot of people put a washer and dryer combo unit into their tiny house. If you do any research on that single unit, it's just a washer and dryer combo. It's freaking one little hole. You put your shit in it, you close it, you turn it on, and you come back and your clothes are dry. They are not dry. It has no heat to dry your clothes. It literally spins your clothes for like 3 hours, and then when you open up your washing machine dryer and take the clothes out, they're dry because they've spun for freaking 3 hours. Horrible thing. I will be putting in a stackable washer and dryer. The dryer will be fed from propane, a propane dryer, and the washer will run off hopefully 110 and as low amperage as I can find. What is this 8, 9, 10 stuff? What is that? You said shit. Oh, I didn't say the F-bomb. I've only said the F-bomb like 3 times. Seriously, back to the tiny house. Would you do the basement design again? Yes. Oh, shit. I clicked something. I lost something. Hold on. There it is. The basement design. I really, really like that idea and design. I have seen other people put bedrooms below things like that. And on video, it doesn't really look comfortable or accommodating to sleeping and other things that you do. You're drunk, Dan. Probably, possibly drunk. You said the G word. Did I? I'm not. I live in the Bible boat, but I'm not very Bible-ish. I do like that lower sleeping section. It is closed off from the rest of the house. I have a little wall, so it's very private, closed in. It's a comfortable sleeping environment. Once I put those windows in, that is going to be the coolest room in the house, I think. I mean, not cool as in cold, but cool as in just like, wow, this is neat to sleep in. I'll have 4 windows, so the whole damn thing will be basically outside. I said this earlier, but hot air rises. So when you have a lofted bedroom above your kitchen, that is a hot-ass sleeping area. Today, when I woke up at like noon today, I work nights, so I sleep till sometimes 3 p.m. Upstairs was like freaking 80 degrees, and I could not sleep during the day. Oh shit, I'm running on a freaking, whoops. I couldn't sleep in that hot environment, so having that bedroom low like that is very comfortable. Dan, make a rifle rack, and I'll buy you a pellet gun. Joseph, I saw your gun that you did on your video that you had, and that shit was like, that was no like pellet gun. That was like That was like doomsday prepper shit there, buddy. I was a little scared. A little scared, Joe. I like the. I'm not. Somebody asked a question about like a bathtub in a tiny house. They like the look of a soaking tub because of the smaller footprint. Any thoughts? I personally am not a bath guy. If anything, I would have a hot tub outside my house, and I'd have it hooked up to a wood stove, and it would be a, what's that called when hot water rises and runs through a coil and comes out? Thermocycling hot tub or something like that. I would do something like that and have a separate tub in the tiny house. Square footage is so important. Square inches are important, and to have a tub in your tiny house, I think, is insane. I see these people put in like 3 foot wide stainless steel, like horse feeding troughs. Basically, they're not stainless steel; they're galvanized, and then they put a drain in it. First of all, that drain, I'm sorry, unless you're really good at what you do, that shit's gonna leak. And then it takes up too much square footage. You need to do a shower curtain around the whole thing, which is going to cut down on your elbow room. There will be no fun times in that shower ever. And that's it. So yeah, I think a shower, a 32 by 32 inch shower is very comfortable. I was really worried about having a 32 by 32 inch shower, but I'm completely fine in that. Uh-oh. I think I need to be done. Nobody asked any really dirty, disgusting questions. Everybody's talking about Japanese tubs. I will Google Japanese cube tub. What is that? Shit, I can't think of it. Shit, I even have a video where I talk about them. But they did a wine barrel, or just a barrel. They cut it in half and they made a shower out of it. Very cool looking. I love their pictures of their bathroom. It looks absolutely beautiful. But to me, again, you're counting on wood to hold the water in and prevent leaks. And water is the enemy when it comes to tiny houses. So I know the fiberglass that I put in is pretty ugly looking, but whatever. All right, I'm done. Please, 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 please. We have maintained a very high viewer. I've only looked a few times, but good viewer base. Please hit that thumbs up button. You obviously are already subscribed to my channel because you're here, but please hit that thumbs up button. When this video is uploaded, go back and watch it again because a lot of the questions I saw have already been answered, so I didn't get to answer them. I really enjoyed doing this, and I would love to do it next month sometime. What is it, March, February? Yeah, like February, in like 4 weeks. Maybe we can do it again. I'm still reading questions. Great questions. Stop fucking drinking so much, brah. Okay. Okay there, Stanley. Stanley, sound like my mom. Daniel, you looked intoxicated in that video. I'm worried about you. Thanks, Mom. I just spilled all over myself. All right. I can't edit that out at all. That sucks. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please, please, please leave your comments down below because all this text stuff will disappear once the video is uploaded. And I'd love to know what you thought about this. And I'm drinking too, so yeah, Stanley. Stanley, you're done, man. You're cut off, Stanley. Voice of Bacon. Bacon needs a voice. Thank you, guys. You guys have been awesome. You guys are awesome. Again, please go check out my Patreon page. The link is in the description below. literally just $1 a month. I know that a lot of people don't have a lot of money and you can't do it and you can't help, but that's fine. I'm sorry that you can't help, but if you got $1 to spare a month, please go check it out. If you're not happy with it, you can cancel at any time. There's no commitment, and all that money that I raise from Patreon will go back into making content for you guys. I've got good camera equipment. I've got a working computer now. Kind of. One day I'll spill something on it and I'll be pissed and I'll do like a crying video and you'll get the first video. But check me out on Patreon. And thumbs up again, yes. And I will see you guys on the next video. Right? Tell us where the link is to donate. Patreon. Patreon's where you donate. Just $1. Oh, is it broken? I'll fix it. I will fix it right now. Should I fix it while we're still live? Patreon.com. Just go to patreon.com. All right, you type that in. My internet's so slow because I'm broadcasting. Very slow. Painfully slow. And then in the search bar up top, type in tiny house. You don't even need to type customs because there's two different tiny housers. There's Dan from Tiny House Customs. You click on that. Is it really broken? And then it'll pop up, and then you can donate. Command C. All right. Oh shit. Ah, shit. All right. But yeah, it's there. I'll fix it for the thing, but snort some. Thank you guys. You guys have been fun, and I look forward to doing it again. I will see you on the next video.